Listen to Badge.
Hi, guys.
Guys, we're back. We're both wearing the same outfit.
Wow, son. We did 3 days in a row. I like doing it. It's almost like, how do radio people do it all the time? But if you were making a consistent amount of money, you would just be like, this is great. You know what I mean?
I also think too, like even when we used to podcast back to back, every day there's new stuff happening. There's really nothing new happening. Like everything's almost the same.
Yeah. Just like people are losing their shit online and then trying to call each other out, which I find toxic. And I also feel like if you just don't go online, then everything feels fine.
Yeah, I'm trying to limit my time on social media so that I can have some semblance of my life back.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to have Dr. Phil stories about how social media ruined their family. You know, like a mistress does. I think they're going to be like, this is ruining my family.
Oh, yeah. When I just feel like knowing a lot of people's political beliefs is not great. I just feel like as long as you are nice to me and you don't.
I don't want to know who you voted for.
Yeah, I don't care. I just need you to be like amicable in real life. Okay, so this is since Adrian and I were, we had to tape for the 4th of July week because we're going to be gone. Or I'm going to be gone. So
I'm going to be in the Bronx. So if you guys want to come by.
So we had a few emails that we never responded to. So we figured we'd take this time for the $3 tier to answer y'all's questions. So this one's from Ashley B. I won't say her full name.
Hi, Ashley B.
Hi, Ashley B. Thank you for listening. This one says, hey, gals. Hope you guys hanging in there, at least enjoying the nice weather. It's been great. I'm going to stir the pot and ask your opinion on the Joey Diaz thing. I used to be a pretty avid listener of the Joe Rogan podcast, and I remember hearing that story and being grossed out. What's your take on Diaz and Rogan? I saw Diaz tweet a bunch of support for male comedians, but I obviously want to hear a woman's perspective. Thanks for keeping us entertained in this crazy-ass world.
Well, this is just the one question I didn't want to answer, Ashley. Thanks for putting us on the spot. It's interesting because I think it was Lewis that was like, hey, you ladies want to say that it's empowering to suck a guy's dick for $100, but then it's not empowering to suck a guy's dick for stage time.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, to be honest, I don't know if all the stuff he's saying is true or not. I feel like Joey Diaz tends to lie about stuff.
He's full of shit a lot of the times just for the sake of a story, but he also didn't run on a high moral ground for the longest time. Even before stand-up, he was a criminal. So he did have ethics issues. And my other thing is like, what girl is sucking Joey Diaz's dick thinking that's going to bring her places? Like that guy is just barely making a name for himself now. And it's been 20 years in the business.
Well, okay, let's say it is true though. Let's go with
that. It's awful. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's true and he's like, hey, you have to suck my dick to get on stage, I'm like, okay, well, how valuable is the stage time? Is there going to be audience there? I need to know more information. And also, like, I'm not going to blow you. What else can I do? Can I clean your apartment? Can I do something else where I could get on stage? Because this is the thing. It's not right to do that and put women in that position where they're so desperate for stage time that they want to actually blow Joey Diaz.
Yeah, there's so many, like, that's why that story sounds crazy. I mean, she may have just blown his dick anyway, and then he made it seem like it was for stage time. But I remember going to the Comedy Store when I first moved to LA back in I think it was before 9/11. And I was about maybe 2 years into stand-up. And I was going to all the alternative rooms at the time. And then I was like, I always remember the store being a thing. I'm going to go check it out. And I remember going to that mic and I remember thinking that place was awful.
Oh, the Comedy Store? Was it very like a bro hang?
Yeah. And then also it's funny too, because I remember seeing Ari Shaffir, and at that time he was running the mic and he was slowly kind of getting good at stand up. And I remember the first time I saw him, I was like, I better stay away from that guy because he was so brutally mean.
That's when I first met Ari, I hated him. I think I
Yes.
even told him, and he's like, you know what? That's actually a lot of people have said that to me. Because he's actually a good person, but he comes off as such a dick.
Yes. Well, because he does, I don't know what it is. Sometimes he does really prickish things or things that he has that bit about throwing his used condom in his friend's face. And you're like, Ari, no one likes that.
I mean, he had a joke about watching his friend's dog and that the dog would only play catch and bring the ball back if he put his cum all over the ball. And I was like, Ari, it's fucking disgusting. Why are you doing that? And he's like, the dog loves it. I'm like, I don't care. It doesn't make it right. It just, the thought of all of it grossed me the fuck out.
Yeah.
I guess the thing with Joey Diaz is I don't know if any of it's true. If it is true, it's awful and gross, to be honest. Like, if somebody wants to blow you, I mean, it's weird though, because there are situations where people hook up and then the guy will end up helping a girl out. And I feel like it kind of can't be said. You know what I mean? Like, if it just kind of happens that way,
yeah.
Be like, hey, you're not getting on my shitty mic unless you blow me. I'd be like, I'm out.
Oh, I just never think anything is worth a blowjob, even my marriage. So
yeah, and you're hanging on by a string, I'm sure, because you're not blowing Joe.
I do it every now and then. In fact, you reminded me it has been a while, so I feel like I owe him one. But my also other thing in comedy is any guy that's ever helped me never asked me to hang out with them and go on a date. They just put in the good word and they do it. You just hear from
Surprisingly, when you said that, I was like, that's 100% correct. Ari actually helped me out, and I never had to hang out with him. Do you know what I mean? Like, we ended up becoming friends and hanging out, and I opened for him on the road. But like, yeah, he just did that for me, and that was it. You know what I mean? So yeah, if anyone wants to help you out, they'll truly just help you out. And a lot of times they won't even say they're helping you out. They'll just do it behind your back.
They'll just drop your name, to their manager and agent. But like, no guy comic at that time, this is for female comics, I think, no guy comic really wants to collaborate on a project with you unless you are hanging out with them and you guys have established a friendship. But like, honestly,
gay.
Yeah. But most of the time, it's always like under the preconceived, like they're trying to hook up with you and they're too chicken shit to ask you out on a date.
Yeah, the other thing that sucks is like comedy in general is a boys club. So being a young female comic and coming into this boys club, when stuff like that happens, it does deter comics or young women from wanting to do stand up, which is sad because it sucks. You know what I mean? Like, I know there's like guys just in the New York scene. I know one guy in particular who's like had that same thing where I don't think he'd ask them to blow them, but he'd put women in situations. And I found this out years later where he would make them uncomfortable and they would just stop doing stand up, which like on the one hand is great because you're like, we don't need any more comics. But on the other hand, it's shitty because like you're using your power or your perceived power to these young female comics. And it's not right and it's not cool, you know? So yeah. I hope that those stories are not true. I hope like one girl blew him, then he put her on stage and he made that whole fabrication up because I don't think that's right. But I do think the way to get out of it on his part is just doubling down. Like he never apologized. All he did was say like, you don't like that, you're not going to like this. And that seems like the best way as a comic to just kind of get out of stuff.
Yeah. Unless it's like I don't know, like the Chris D'Elia thing. I think that's a hard tactic to do.
He should just be like, yeah, I fucked kids. No, I don't know. He's insane. I don't know what you do in that situation. I can only tell comics who have not committed a gross crime against children what to do.
Yeah. Can I
But like not apologizing. Like
yeah.
Chelsea Handler never apologized and like no one and people stopped going after her.
Yeah, but then she does a horrible show on Netflix about her white privilege that's kind of obnoxious.
I know. And honestly, you know what that show's just calling out for? More spotlight on a white woman. It's really not. That's not helping Black people in any way. Like I started watching that and I'm like, oh, this is all about Chelsea. What she could have done, it's like grandstanding in a way. What she could have done is just employed a bunch of Black people to work on a project, giving them money to fund something. But like instead, she does that dumb thing where she has another TV show on Netflix. So it's
Yeah,
like, I don't think that's actually helpful. A lot of this stuff, if you
exactly.
need to like show people what you're doing, it's like, that's not great. That's not how real change happens, by making a dumb documentary saying, here's my white privilege. It's like,
Look how great I
you,
am. I got
yeah,
another Netflix show.
right. It's like, use your white privilege to help some of these other Black actors and
Give a
comics that could use,
show.
yeah.
Produce
Or
a show for
you
them.
have so much money. It's like, take your money and give it to them and help them make a project they wanted to work on. You know what I mean? Like a bunch of people of color or something. But like doing a dumb show where you're the centerpiece of it is fucking dumb. And it's also, it's like, I couldn't even watch it. I didn't find anything about it either useful or like informative.
Or
It's just,
funny.
yeah, it's like, what is the point of this? I just
Yeah.
felt like it's not showcasing Black people in any way, and that money could have been better spent doing something that like you're not showcased on it, because it's really just helping her.
Yeah. I think also with I like the Joey Diaz thing too is like the Joe Rogan thing, or like him laughing, like it does create this thing of like
Boys Club.
the boys club thing, and you're annoyed. Like one incident I always thought was annoying I dealt with. I remember I did Caroline's March Madness and I did really well and I made it to the final four, and I was the only girl in that group. And I remember being like, after it was done, the night that was like the last night of it, I was like, I should go out into the lobby and then go hang out with all the comics. And I knew there was industry there. This is my moment. Or
To
not my
shine.
moment. It's not my moment, but I mean, like, I could introduce and meet some industry and, like, I don't know, see if anything happens from this. Cause I've heard, people have gotten management through that, like, those moments. And so I went out there and I was a little bit late to the lobby. And there was one agent, I think he was from, or manager from the Gersh, and it was all the guy comics surrounding him, and they were looking at his phone, and I popped up behind them without them knowing I was there. And it was just a woman's vagina, an actual woman's vagina looked like it was Homer Simpson's mouth. And not that I was like uncomfortable about that, but the way that the guy turned around and he was like, I'm sure you're going to tell this to all your girl comics or whatever, like making it seem like I was going to go tattletale. And it really made me feel like did not belong in that scene at that moment. And I was like, that's annoying. Like if I was going to write a movie about something about how annoying it is to be a female comic, that would be one of the moments that would be like on the nose.
Yeah, like everyone just thinks you're there to ruin their good time talking about a cartoon pussy. You're like, hey guys, like I don't care if you want to go look at cartoon pussies and be gross, that's on you. Like I just want someone to manage me.
I
Like
know, he just
in
made me out
between,
to be the unfun one.
right? And you're like, hey, this is my moment to shine. Yeah, and situations like that, I think, keep women down and oppressed. So that situation, to me, is on par, almost worse than the Joey Diaz thing, because I think that might be just a story he's telling. Like a situation like that, it like ostracizes you from the crowd. Now you're not. It's kind of the same thing almost with drinking, where if you don't drink, you don't feel like you're in with these people. You're not going to get as many opportunities. So automatically, if they think you're like the Debbie Downer who doesn't want to see pussies from cartoons, and they're like, well, she's not a good hang.
Yeah.
And it's the culture like that that really fucks women. And I think that, like, out of all this Me Too stuff, that's what I want to see change. Like,
Oh yeah. Well, that's like I was telling, like
just
I was.
stop being gross, and like, you know what I mean. Stop like making it that women are gonna be mad at you if you do stuff like that. Where you're like, I don't give a shit. I just want a manager. I don't actually care what you're doing.
Yeah, but don't make me seem like I'm the unfun bitch right now. That's like a buzzkill for you.
Right? It's like, you want me to look at a cartoon pussy? That's fine. Can we talk about getting me some dates on the road while we're doing it? Because I need to make some money. Right. So like they've also put on their stereotypes in their heads of what they think you're gonna react like. And you're like, I don't care. I just want to make some money.
Well, I always think a lot of times like the guys in comedy, like I think what they don't understand is like, do you want to what ends up happening for us is that we end up feeling like we're their bitch, where I'm like, nobody likes to feel like somebody's bitch.
Or that you're like nagging someone.
Yeah. And the guys sometimes put us in those situations where we're just like, we feel like unfun cunts. That's what I feel like.
Right. Maybe we should just get shirts that say, I'm not an unfun cunt. Or just like fun cunt here.
Yeah. Or I wish there was a way, maybe where, I don't know, we put the fun in cunt or the un in, I don't know. Brainstorming.
The un in cunt.
Yeah. It just sucks to be put in those positions.
Yeah. So that's what's kind of sucks about it. Like, just give us the same opportunities. You know what I mean? Also, though, if Joey Diaz is like, hey, to the dude comics, like, you guys have to also blow me, then I'd be like, well, this is at least fair to everyone.
Yeah, he needs to let more guys blow him for stage time. I bet you there would be a lot of guys that would blow him for stage time.
Probably. And then I'm like, well, now it's fair to everybody. Just make the playing field fair. That's all we could say is like, make it fair for everyone.
Yes. So that sounds like we solved that problem. That's from Ashley. I think that's it. I can't think of, I see one. This is Nancy.
Nancy.
This is her email. It might not even be a question, but it's just a you guys are great, and I want to share that.
Nancy, that's so nice. And also, I just want to say I'm sorry because I feel like Nancy's becoming the new Karen. So
yeah, we don't think that.
I don't think that, but during this hard time, I just want to give you and your family some time to think of a new name for you, since Nancy's going to slowly become the new Karen.
Yeah, it's unfair. It's really unfair what's happening to you guys in the white lady world.
Yes, but we appreciate your support, and we love all you guys.
Okay, so this is, hi, Adrienne and Sarah. Love the podcast. You girls are hysterical, and the chemistry between you, two of you, is amazing. Thank you.
That's because I make Sarah eat me out.
For stage time.
For stage time in my apartment. I'm like, Sarah, I'll give you a quick 5 in my apartment right now in front of you.
I'm so grateful. I'm from New York, but I live in Danbury, Connecticut. Ooh. Now with my wife and 3 young kids, I discovered your podcast at the beginning of coronavirus and quarantine, and it has been saving my life. Being stuck at home with
that's awesome.
I know. With being stuck at home with my 3 kids and dealing with homeschooling and working my 2 jobs from home has been a nightmare. I'm a clinical social worker and a high school and psychotherapist. I'm also an AA and around the same age as you ladies. I identify, she could just be, if I'm out of town or you're out of town, she could fill our spots.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I identify with a lot of the topics you talk about, and when I feel like I want to slip my wrist because my kids are driving me nuts, I literally put in my earbuds and listen to Vag. Within minutes, I'm laughing out loud and able to get through my day. I'm still catching up with old episodes, and honestly, I tend to prefer it when it's just the 2 of you. Cool. The newer podcasts seem to have a lot of guests, which is cool, I get, but I find the third person gets in the way of the vibe you 2 have with each other. No big deal, just an observation and meant to be a compliment. Yeah, I take it that way.
Who's that from?
That's Nancy. This is, there's one more paragraph. I have watched Adrienne's Degenerate set a few times because it's fucking hilarious, and that is how I ended up finding Vag. You 2 together are comedy gold. It's not like one of you is funnier than the other. I laugh out loud at both of you. So for that 60 minutes, I feel like I'm hanging out with 2 friends. I always said that the first thing that attracts me to the person is a sense of humor and that they make me laugh. So you 2 totally would be on the radar to make friends with, like, say if we met at a meeting or something. Anyway, that's enough of me. Thanks for keeping me laughing during this shit storm that I call my life. Be safe. No questions. But Nancy.
That, first of all, that made me feel like what we're doing is actually good work.
Really important.
Nancy, you may have saved my life from slitting my wrist today.
Yeah. And I also want to say, like, the third person, I think because sometimes it's on Zoom, it gets more like when you jump in, or sometimes, so it gets awkward.
I guess it doesn't feel as natural, but I guess that's why too we try and do like every other one.
Well, like, it made me laugh yesterday. Mike Vecchio went to go answer the door, and then you and I are just talking, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm back."
And we're like, "We actually don't need you, Mike. We love you, but like we're good by ourselves." Because honestly, me and you can take one topic and end up on like something that's totally unrelated. We do have that ability to just trail off.
I love tangents. In fact, I'd rather everything in my life, I always enjoy being sidetracked. Like it's like, when people are like, I suffer from ADD, you're like, I actually really enjoy it. I just hate deadlines.
To be able to like just trail, like even if I'm writing a packet and I'm looking for current events, I'll find one thing that says like, I don't know, something that's like weird. And then I'm like, well, now I need to look up more about that. And then I'm just like suddenly 5 hours later in this wormhole of videos about lizards, licking assholes or something. And you're like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
But like, what a fun way to live your life where you just.
But I love being there. Yeah.
And Nancy has 2 jobs, 3 kids. It sounds like she's home for the whole duration of this quarantine. Like, I can't even imagine what she's going through. Could you imagine having 3 kids? I don't even want to walk Zuzu 3 times a day.
You can't even leave. There's no way to go. You have to like.
At least when you're at a job, you could go out. And she sounds like she's a social worker, so she's dealing with other people's bullshit. At some point, I want to be like, there has to be a point in her day where she's like, hey man, I have 3 kids and 2 jobs. Nobody cares that you can't find fucking sneakers in your size. Like just something so trivial where you're like, this is bullshit. None of this matters.
I know, where you're like, I don't want to see you do a cartwheel right now. I've seen more entertaining shit in my social work job than this.
You're like, my 3-year-old has a better resume of interest than you. Like, yes, maybe. I don't understand why, as like a social worker or a therapist, you can't just say, man, you've tried for 40 years. You're not happy. You can kill yourself. Why can't you ever tell people, like, I don't know why we have to pretend that everyone's life is worth saving. Some people are so miserable and sad that like them killing themselves is the nicest thing they can do for themselves.
Can you imagine? I know
people will disagree.
Oh yeah, I just like the idea of like being a therapist that also has the ability to do assisted suicide. So after
if it doesn't work out
after 10 years, you're like, you know what? I think today is the day that I have to help you go to the next level, and that's death.
Yeah, you're like, I've been seeing you for 10 years. There's no progress at all. At this point, you're draining your family savings account.
Yeah. So
I think the nicest thing I can do for your family is let you die.
Yeah. So just say your goodbyes now. Pay me on Venmo before you head out.
Yeah, I need that money to clear first.
Because I have a mortgage.
And then you just take someone's body, put them in a body bag, and then like their family picks them up like it's, or you drop it off like it's Fresh Direct.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really great business model.
So you have to go meet your friend?
I do. Okay. I'm gonna go. Okay, so we're done, guys. Please send us more emails because we really like hearing from you, and I love hearing funny stories about everyone's life, like work stuff, crazy work stories,
things you're doing in quarantine. If you have any stories like me stripping as a pregnant stripper at like 10, stuff like that is just gold to me. Things that I remember Shelly's story about getting raped in the basement. Her and her friend like replaying it over. Shelly's a longtime supporter and we love her. And that story is probably, I don't think I could write anything funnier than that story. I've actually reread that story when I've been sad and it's made me laugh.
It's so funny.
It's like a gift from God.
Yeah.
If there's a God.
Yeah. And he gives
guys, stay safe. We love you. Email us. We're going to put together a live ad show. Podcast,
after the holidays, badgepodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks, guys.